Thank you for downloading this episode of the Nerd Ball Podcast. This is a special episode. I was a guest on Inside the Hive, a podcast ran by Perrysburg students and a teacher. And it was great. We talked for an hour and a half. If you ever wanted to know a lot about me, Lorenzo, the host of the Nerd Ball Podcast, this is the episode for you. Check out Inside the Hive. They do... this is their second season of podcasts, and the hosts are always the high school kids. So it was cool to like hear questions coming from them. There was a cool segment that they went. The host Gray went into the locker room. Gray Swanson went into the locker room and got questions from other football players to ask me. It was pretty cool. It was exciting. I was on the other side of all the questions, and you know me, I love to talk. So it was the perfect podcast for me. Again, this is Inside the Hive. Check it out wherever you are listening to this podcast. And as always, thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. This podcast, the Nerd Ball Podcast. We are gaining some steam here, and I can feel it. And I feel all of you. And thank you for always supporting the podcast. So without further ado, here is my podcast when I was on Inside the Hive. I am Lorenzo Melcher, Perrysburg tight ends coach, and I am Inside the Hive.
All right. I'm excited for this one. Very excited for this one, except my partner, Sam, is not here.
I was excited to be with both of you when you told me yesterday. I was like, yeah, and then Sam decides he wanted to go do something else, apparently.
Yeah, he is fired. Sam Lawson officially fired.
Fired.
Yep. Not like me fired, because Sam is not coming back.
Nope.
Has he missed – is this his first one he's missed, or has he missed other ones?
This is the first one.
Okay.
I had a legit reason. I was sick.
Yeah.
Sam does not have a legit reason.
Should we say the reason?
I think so, yeah. Put him on blast, man.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, he said he wanted to go buy a costume.
Mm-hmm. For Halloween. I mean, seriously. Who is this guy? He's got duties and he's not doing it.
You're here.
You're here.
I'm here. I'm thugging it out.
That's right. Yeah.
It's all right. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That was a joke.
Yeah,
It's just because you're always stupid. That's why.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's why. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So this is, season 2, episode 5.
Yep.
It's been good so far.
Good. Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
I know this is your
go ahead.
podcast. How have you enjoyed, or how much have you enjoyed? I figured you enjoy it, but how much have you enjoyed doing the podcast?
Well, originally I got into it because of Jack and Joel.
Mm-hmm.
We were pretty good friends last year, and so I'd always listen to the podcast last year, and it kind of got me excited when Jack told me, he was like, "Hey, you want to do the podcast next year?"
Yeah.
And I knew it was like a senior thing or whatever, so I was really honored that he would kind of try to pass it down to me. And Rogers and I we were buddies. We were good friends. So he let it slide, and I mean, I've had so much fun so far. I think, especially with Sam, because we're friends and we know each other pretty well. It's just a lot of fun.
Good.
He's done a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do enjoy listening to him, mostly because I like hearing other people interview people, how other people interview, because you learn things, and it's cool to hear other people do it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me at practice one day that my question, you liked how broad my questions were.
Yeah, because I'm so used to trying to have the best questions, and sometimes it's just how'd you feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
And it can be real simple.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that kind of leads me to my first question.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's a very simple one again,
Yeah.
so don't think too hard about it.
Okay.
But what does a normal day look like for you? What do you do?
So I am a coach, but I'm not a teacher, so I don't work for Perrysburg. I work for the Toledo Metro Parks. I am a park services supervisor for Glass City Metro Park, which is the brand new park downtown. I don't know if either of you have been there. We had ice skating there last year.
Oh, nice.
We're going to start our second season of ice skating this year, so it's a lot of work. But my day, I usually get up about 5. I got to get to work by 6, and then it's a lot more. I got into parks to be outside, and that's been my job for a long time, just outside mow, plant plants, do irrigation, that kind of stuff. And now since I'm a supervisor, I do a lot more it's like being the head coach. So I do a lot more planning for my guys on what they're going to do, have meetings, do that kind of stuff. So I'm there 8 or 9 hours depending on when it is. If it's not football season, I'm there longer. But during football season, I work till about 2:30 and then go home, get dressed, and come out to football. And depending if Mateo has practice, I don't get home till 7. If I got to pick him up from football practice. So they're long days, but it's fun. I enjoy doing what I'm doing because I like being in charge. So that's when I'm in charge of the park. So I enjoy doing that. And then coming here, obviously, it's fun to coach football.
Yeah. I've always wondered about that because when I was a kid, I would watch I don't know if you ever heard of it. I think it's called North Star Law or something like that. Northwoods Law. That's
Okay.
what it was. And it was like a show about like the park rangers and stuff.
Oh,
I know
sure.
It's not exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it always had me interested, and that was like always a career I was interested in when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to meet somebody who kind of was outdoors job and stuff like that and stuff. So that's cool that there's one that I know.
Yeah, it is very cool. A lot of people think at first when I say I work for the parks that they immediately think I'm a ranger, especially how I dress. But our rangers are law enforcement. There's a lot of park systems that have rangers that aren't. They're just like security.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
our rangers have they carry weapons and they can arrest you and they can do all kinds of stuff. So yeah, so they are law enforcement, which is nice because it's nice to have that and they're really personable, which is also nice because you don't want to just be big bad law enforcement walking around. So but it is, I really enjoy being outside, and sometimes you don't think about it. Like my daughter came to the park one time, and this is before it opened. We just opened in June, so she was just running around doing whatever, I think playing on the playgrounds and stuff. And she's like, "You get to work here every day?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." Like you don't think about it until someone asks you about it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of work, but it's fun, especially seeing when the park's full of people. So.
Yeah, and that's the one. Is that the one down by the river, kind of?
Yeah, downtown Toledo, east side of Toledo. Yep.
Does it have that? It's got that big, the big playground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It goes up.
It's 41 feet tall.
Dude.
Yep.
I went there a while ago with my girlfriend, and I probably spent 10 minutes just playing on the playground.
Dude, did you go down the big slide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I climbed all the way up. Dude, it was so fun.
It is tall. It is tall. It's cool. I've saved a couple young kids because they got scared.
Yeah.
And it's a couple criers up there that I was able to help.
It
But
made me nervous.
it is. I climbed. I've only been down one time because it is a lot. It isn't just like climbing a ladder. Like there's a lot of ropes. There's a lot of things you got to go across to get to the slide. You can climb on the outside of the slide too. It has handholds, like it's a rock wall. So you can do that, but yeah, it's pretty big, and we have 2 playgrounds. But that's the biggest one. That's the most popular one. Yeah.
Now about the park rangers, is there one at every location that you have, or do they kind of travel around?
They have 4 regions that they patrol. Usually they're together. So our region, the region that they're in, where I work, there's 7 parks. So they travel around park to park, checking it. Some are more rural. You don't have to go. There's not as many people go to them. Some are like downtown where I work, where it's busy every day. We have a dead period right now because we ended our summer season and roller skating, and then we don't start ice skating until I think 2 weeks. So there's like a dead period where the park isn't really activated. But once that stuff comes on, then they'll be more active downtown. The park will anyway. Okay. But yeah, they travel around. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy park stories for us?
A lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't talk about on a podcast that will be listened by high school kids. But there are there's some cool stories where when the park opened, I think in the first 3 weeks we found 3 kids that were missing their parents or were lost.
Oh wow!
But we were able to reunite with their parents.
That's cool.
There's a lot. We see a lot of different stuff as far as the amount of animals we see, especially downtown. People think oh, it's downtown, there's not gonna be a lot of stuff, but we see all kinds of things. There's deer downtown. There's we released in the spring a juvenile bald eagle. So it hangs out down the park all the time, and it was sitting on we have this thing called the Beacon Tower. It was sitting on top of this light tower for about 2 hours, just hanging out there. But we see there's a lot of cool stuff to see, and a lot of stories, like I said, that can be shared off air. But it is very interesting. It's very cool. I really enjoy just seeing, because I know how much work my staff puts into the park, and I enjoy people going there and using the things that we that we supply them.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So were you stationed somewhere else before this park?
Yeah, I started, so I've been there for 3 years. I started at Providence Metro Park, which I didn't know it existed, and I didn't know where it was at until the day before I started working there. Like, I applied, interviewed, it was a Zoom interview, it was during COVID, so I Zoom interviewed, and then the day before, I was like, I should probably figure out where I'm going. So I went out there with my wife, we walked around, and I was there for 8 months as a park maintenance. So I, installed, while I was there, I installed a faucet, fixed, a little bit of carpentry, a little bit of electrical stuff. Down at Providence, they have a big boat with a lock. And I don't know if you know what a lock is. It's on a canal. So back in the day, they used the canal for everything. But when you needed this one that's still active, they take the boat, put it in the lock, close the lock, and it raises the water level up so people can get on and off the boat. So there's boat tours there, but that boat is really old, so working on that was pretty cool. They got a mill there that that you can use. We actually milled with the biggest saw blade I've ever seen, and it was really cool to get it up and running and see wood get milled into planks that you could use for things. And so it was a cool park, and I was there for about 8 months, and then I put in for a supervisor job at Pearson Metro Park, which is in Oregon. And I was there for about a year, and then I got switched to Glass City Metro Park, where I'm at now. So I've been a supervisor for a couple years, just at 2 different parks. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Is this one your favorite?
I wanted to be at Glass City before it was open. Like, I knew what was happening, and I wanted to be there when I first got to the Metro Parks. Okay. So I'm very excited to be there because, like I said, that's where I wanted to be from the beginning. And it just took a little bit of time for people to know me and see my skill set and what I can do. And now, I'm in the spot that I want to be at, and I don't want to be anywhere else. Eventually, I want to keep moving up. I'd like to be park director, which oversees everything. Eventually, that's my goal. So we'll work my way up that way.
All right,
awesome.
Yeah.
So actually, yeah, okay. So I did a little something with the team. I'll just throw in a few questions here and there, but because you're very close with pretty much all of our players.
Yeah, I do want to speak about that real quick. I enjoy talking to you guys. Even when I'm out there, I know I have my tight ends and they're goofballs, and I enjoy talking to them. But I want to talk to as many kids as possible. And that's the one thing that I miss about being a freshman coach. You get to know the whole team, right? Yep. And when I moved up to varsity, I lost that, but I also had the biggest group when I was a wide receivers coach when I first came up here. So I still got to know them. I was JV coach, so I got to know those often. Still knew most of the team. But then when I got off of JV this year, there's still some linemen I don't know their names.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because I never see them, they're not my group. I didn't coach them on JV, so that you saying that's something I'm glad you said that because I just try to do that. I want to be a part of it, and as much as you guys want me to be a part of your lives, I'll take it. If you just want to know me as a football coach, cool. If you want to play Fortnite, then I'll play Fortnite with you guys. I just like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think I knew the lineman on Gray's team.
Yeah. I don't even remember who started.
Yeah. I don't remember any of them.
It's tough when you don't need to know all of them.
No.
Then
no way.
You only have so much mental capacity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really good because it's always nice to have somebody that we can come to talk to or relate to and everything. I think you're just perfect for that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah.
So I asked everyone if they had a question for you.
Yeah.
So we'll sprinkle in a few here and there. So the first one is from Dylan. He says, "Why did you want to become a park ranger?"
So he doesn't know me as well. So I am not a park ranger, as we discussed.
Yep.
But I got my degree from Owens in landscape and turf grass management. So I knew I wanted to work outside, and I had jobs along the way. I worked for a big Fortune 500 company where I worked on one campus, and then I worked for the University of Toledo for 7 years. And then when I found out the Metro Parks was hiring, it was just a perfect time with COVID. Things happened at my job where I was like, oh, I think the parks would be really cool. And once I got in there, and it was kind of just like as soon as I got started working, I had a really good supervisor. His name was Brian. His name is Brian. He's still there. That really helped me. As soon as I got in there, he knew I wanted to do more, so he helped me do more. And once I figured out what the parks was, I was glad that I moved there. But all my jobs for the last 15 years has been in the green industry, and I just wanted to continue to be. I just like being outside, So that's why I want to do it. Yeah.
All right.
Did you ever think about like golf course stuff or anything like that?
So Owens has when you do Owens, you can do turf management or landscape.
Gotcha.
I wasn't a huge fan of like mowing at the time. Like I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, like do all that stuff. Yeah. And long days.
Oh, yeah.
I had a buddy who worked for the Mud Hens where he would have 16-hour days. Do that for 4 days on a 4-game homestand and then be off for a week because they're away, So I didn't want to do that part of it. As much as I love sports, I didn't want to do that part of it. And I really liked, like, as I was doing classes, I really enjoyed plants and planting of it and landscaping. And so I went that track. And, come to find out, I love mowing. Like, it's a lot of fun. And when I found that out, also I had my first job, one of my first jobs, I had a boss said, I know you like landscaping and don't really care about grass, but guess what? If the grass is brown, they're not going to see the plants. And I was like, you're right. So I really got into mowing, and it's one of those things where you can put headphones in and just go, and not think about stuff. And so I enjoy doing that. Actually, I don't do much of outside stuff now because of my job, but I got to sit on a tractor and mow for about 4 hours today. So today was a good day, just mow and go. And every once in a while I have to answer my phone. That's the tough part is when you're mowing and you're a supervisor, your pocket's vibrating, you look at it, and depending on who it is, you can put it right back in your pocket or you got to pick it up. So, some of those things. But yeah, I did think about that stuff for a little bit, but it just, the plants part of it, kind of landscaping part kind of drew me.
Understandable.
Yeah.
And do you think there's anything that made you want to do that kind of stuff, like from when you were younger, or like something that your parents kind of did for their jobs that made you want to deal with plants?
My mom was a nurse and my dad worked in a factory, but he did enjoy, like, he made my brother and I cut the grass, which as a child you don't want to do, My son, my son does it, but we have to pay him $5. So, and I had to do it for free. But he did like planting annual plants. Like, he loved flowers. So we would have a bed in front of our house. I grew up in Toledo. We had a bed in front of our house, and he would always have impatiens there. It was shady, put these impatiens, and he really liked it. As I got older, not even in like high school, nothing really drew to me. But as I figured out like what I wanted to do, I went to BG, and I wasn't ready for college out of high school. They told me not to come back after a semester, but it was just because I didn't go to class. They're not going to keep you in class or keep you enrolled if you're not there. I went to Owens, same thing. And it just came to, at some point in my life, my girlfriend, who's now my wife, said, you should probably go back to school. So I got into Owens catalog and just flipped through a bunch of stuff that interested me, and eventually got down to 2 things. And one was landscape and turf grass management, and the other one was X-ray tech. And what it was I want to be outside. Mm-hmm. So here it is. But I there's nothing that really like pinpointed it. Like, this is what kind of led me to being outside. As I got a little older, I just enjoyed being outside. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Good question. That was a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Another one is from Medford.
Okay. Why do you guys call him? Is it just because?
Well, okay. Part of it's because we like to mess with him.
Yeah.
That's one of them. And
I'm surprised you even mentioned him on the podcast.
I really didn't.
Oh, really?
He told me.
Is that a hot topic or what?
It is a running joke that we don't mention him.
So he I was in the locker room or whatever, and I was like asking people if they had questions. He's like, I'm trying to think, and I asked Dylan if he wanted to be like anonymous or like let you know. And Medford's like, oh, you're gonna put my name in there?
You should have left it out.
I was like, well, that's
funny.
what I did. I was like, I told Joe, I was like, Medford put the question down, and I was like, I'm not writing his name down. But I figured I'd cut him some slack.
Okay, all right.
And the reason is because I believe one day we were doing something for defense up on the whiteboard.
Okay.
And one of our defensive coaches wrote Medford instead of Mefford.
Yeah.
And so ever since then, it kind of just stuck.
That's how it works, man.
That's he's gonna be Medford for 50 years.
Yeah. You get a name like that and like some stupid thing like that, and that's it, man.
Yeah. That's all it takes. We had a buddy who in college we'd play poker, and he was so slow, and we started calling him Sid the Sloth. From whatever I forget, Ice Age, and we still call him Sid, or at least I do. Yep. Like and it just sticks with him. So yeah. So that's what's going to happen.
All right, so this one is from him. He wants to know what your favorite JV memory was.
I don't know if it was my favorite, but I do remember when Blue Ball ripped his helmet off and almost cost us the game at Southview after making a good play. Took his helmet off in the flag, and then I was so mad. But it's fine to joke about now because we won.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't imagine if we would have lost, because of that.
Helmet.
I enjoyed that. I enjoy kind of the ragtag nature of it too, because it's JV, and there's a little bit of that with freshmen too. You can kind of mess around with it, but it's to a larger extent definitely at JV, where it's like you would never, as a varsity coach, put a play in that you just drew up on the sideline. And you can do that at JV.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You can just say, all right, guys, when we go back out, here's what I want. I want 4 guys over here, and we're going to fake the button, and then you're going to run this, all that stuff. I love trick plays. That was any trick play that we would run is nice. But I think overall is just it's so loose, and I like that aspect of it where we can just do our own thing, and everything's all right,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, this will be the last one for now.
Mm-hmm.
Joe would like to know what your favorite Fortnite season was.
I don't remember seasons.
He also said you could say maps. I'm sure you don't really remember that any better either. Though.
So no, I do remember maps because there was a spot where I would always go, and I forget what it was called, but it was like a movie theater. Because you would land, there was like this big building, and there was a bunch of cars, like it was a drive-in. But I forget what it was called. But I loved landing there. But it's going to drive me crazy.
Yeah, same. I know what you're talking about.
A drive-in? That's what those are. But it was me and Mateo would always go there. He would always separate from me, and I'd get upset because Mateo, you can't just we're together. This is a team. I enjoy Frenzy right now. I like going there.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. Risky Reels.
Yes.
Risky Reels.
Yes.
So I liked it a lot better, Frenzy, when they had I forget the person that you could purchase where it was like added to your party.
Yeah, yeah.
They had one of those in the top of Frenzy, but they don't have it anymore. But I still like going there. But
That's
yeah,
a good
man,
one.
Fortnite. I love Fortnite. It's so much fun. I don't have time to play as much as I want to, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Coach Melcher. He likes to play with us on Fortnite a lot. We found this out mid-season, I think.
Yeah.
That he played, and ever since then, it's kind of like somebody texts in the group chat.
Yep.
Whoever can play gets on.
That's when I saw you texting me yesterday. I'm like, oh, maybe he wants to play Fortnite, and then I was like, oh, it's just to me. So that's something else.
Yeah. So it's fun.
You guys play late though sometimes.
Yeah.
You guys,
I don't like Fortnite. I don't like to play it when it's late at night. It's just too much thinking for me at night. And I'd rather play Madden.
Yeah.
Where if I get tired, I'll just hand it off to the running back and he'll do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. Especially I'm mostly snow days. If you, I don't know. I don't know if you have to work during your big snow days.
I do. Well, actually, I have to be there, but I do less of the actual work. But yes, yeah.
Well, if you ever come home early on a snow day, just be ready.
There was one time I found this out on a snow day. Metro Parks has a policy where if you're not a supervisor and it's a level 3, you don't go in, but you still get paid.
Oh, nice.
And at the time, I wasn't a supervisor, so it was so weird to be at home. It was the first time I was home on a snowstorm in probably 12 years. Wow. And I'm just watching the snow because they don't want you going in. I'm like, all right, so I guess I'll sit here. That would have been perfect. Awesome. I had my own snow day. I hadn't had one of those in forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was nice.
That's sweet. All right, so weaning off of those questions a little bit.
Yeah.
What made you want to become a coach?
So I have I started coaching softball when I was, I think, 17. I was assistant coach for my little sister's softball team. And it was a lot of fun. I found out everyone loves to be assistant coaches. There's no shortage of assistant coaches. Even this year, I'm the head coach of my daughter's softball team by title only. I don't do a lot. But I have 4 assistant coaches, but none of them signed up to be head coach just because it's a lot,
Yeah.
So it started, like I said, it started when I was younger. And then when I got into high school, I had, even before that, my dad was a baseball coach. and my baseball coach for like 5 years. And I knew like whenever I had kids, I was going to be baseball, softball, whatever. If I had a son or daughter, I was going to be a coach for them because I really enjoyed my dad being there. My mom was our bench coach, and she kept the book and she kept the kids in line. So it was, having both of them there was like, yeah, this is something I want to do for sure with my kids, And then as I got older into high school, I had an awesome throwing coach. I did track and field. Mr. Henches, we called him. He was such a good coach. Was real, like, never got too high, too low. He could keep everything, like, center. And he taught me, like, especially with shot and disc, like, you get 4 throws. Like, if the first one goes bad, you can't get upset because you still got 3 more and you're going to go in the tank.
Yeah.
So he taught me, like, to be level. Like, just you can't get up too high or too low. My dad taught me, like, my dad didn't know anything about baseball. And each year he grew more and learned more, and he taught me, like, it's okay to talk to the kids about it. Like, hey, he would ask us, like, what do you guys think? Or what do you think about the lineup? And he would ask our input on a lot of stuff. So I like doing that now. Like, hey, this is how we're going to do things, or especially as a freshman coach or JV coach, I want people's input to, this is your team, even making signals. Like, you guys got to look at us for the signals. What do you guys think about this stuff? Yeah. So my dad, and then the last one was Coach Kriegel. Those 3 guys, Coach Kriegel, like, such a good head coach, much like Coach Connor now, where he lets us coach our guys. There's some coaches that need to be involved in every position and need to be, making sure the coaches are doing what he tells them. And, he just let us coach. And being a first time, he gave me my first varsity job. And, coming up, I had no idea what I was doing. He made me wide receivers coach. My friends would make fun of me, like, you're an offensive lineman, you're coaching wide receivers. Like, hey, I don't have to run the routes. I just got to show them what they're doing. Yeah. So, Coach Kriegel said, run any drill you want, find them, do whatever you want. The kids will let you know if they're good or bad. Sometimes they'll hate them, but you'll like them. There's a lot of growing. Do what you want to do, So those 3 guys really, like, instilled a lot into me and like showed me how to be a coach in different ways. And now, I can take all of them and really make me the coach I want to be, and it goes from 5-year-olds to you guys being 18, like it's all the same. The message is just a little bit different. And that's where I got to figure out how to do that,
Yeah. That's awesome. I've always thought about that kind of, if I would want to coach, like when I was older. I feel like I like Big Gold would not be able to handle those guys. No. There's no way.
No.
It's all just being organized. If you can be organized, it makes everything a lot better. Yeah.
Imagine though, like, some of these parents.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Big Gold level, man. You don't run their son 25 times a game. They're waiting on you out on the sideline. Like,
yeah. Letting you have it from the stands. They're not even waiting.
Yeah.
It's hard, and that that's why, like I said, there's a lot of assistant coaches. It's hard to be a head coach, and I think everyone should try coaching something at some point. Like, I think it's good. Even powder puff to a little extent. Like, you still got to, like, the girls playing still are looking to the coaches to say, all right, what are we doing here? Like, they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. They need some guidance. So any little bit of that helps, especially going forward in whatever career you decide to do. Like, there is some sort of leadership aspect that you need to be successful.
Yeah.
So
that parents part right there made me think of a question. How do I want to word this? What has been the most exciting experience with a fan or parent in the stands that you've had to deal with as a coach on JV?
I've had to.
You don't have to name anyone.
No, I remember when I was a freshman coach, we were at Springfield, and we were on offense, and there was a late hit on our quarterback or a face mask or something to our quarterback, and he was down and injured, and fans started going crazy. There was a flag thrown, but they were going crazy, and I turned around. In Springfield, we were just there. The stands aren't very big for visitors. I just turned around. It's quiet because it's a freshman game, and I just yelled real loud, like, hey, they threw a flag. We're taking care of it. Knock it off. Like, calm down. And everyone did, and whatever. And I remember Chuck came up to me, and he's like, I've never had a coach do that, but that was needed, and it was good that you did that. And I used to be a football official. I used to be an umpire. I don't tolerate my fans or players or anybody yelling at them because I know what it is, how it was there. There was a time and I had to yell in the stands of the JV game. We were winning by 1 billion, and there's someone complaining that their kid got called for a penalty and they didn't think so. And I looked at him and I just pointed to the scoreboard. I'm like, look at the scoreboard. Like, we're winning by a lot. It's okay. If they miss the call, cool. But we're still winning and we're going to win. So, there's times where I have yelled in the stands, right or wrong, I don't know. It's just what I feel like I need to do, especially when everything's super quiet at JV and freshman games where you can hear everything.
Yeah.
I think for me, like, that's coming down a little bit.
I didn't notice that.
No?
No. Like, I didn't hear anything. It wasn't like a silence, like there was nothing to hear.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't notice.
Well, you guys use headphones, though, right?
Yeah.
You guys use headphones? I didn't use headphones. Okay. So you can hear a lot more of that stuff.
Yeah.
And even Friday nights, like, I don't hear anything. I can barely hear Coach Connor sometimes, because it's so loud. But I can see how, and maybe I'm hyper aware of it more. I don't know. Maybe because I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
Like, it frustrates me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. All right. We'll do some more
Okay.
player questions.
I like that segment.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
He told me, he's like, I got a good segment, so I was
We
excited.
should start doing that like more often.
Yeah.
When we're gonna have anybody on, we should
take
Yeah.
outside questions.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's also a good way to like in between like questions, a good filler too. And a lot of times with that, you'll get questions that you didn't even think about asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Get goofballs like Joe.
Yeah.
Thinking about questions.
You better start thinking about Fortnite.
Okay, there's more.
There's a few coming up.
Is one, how did I beat Paulo? And it's because I'm better than him.
But we can definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
We can definitely talk about it. But the first one is from Nick. He wants to know how was Perrysburg football when you were there?
My sophomore year, I think we were 500. We started 5-0. We ended up 500. I don't remember a lot of it because I was a sophomore. I didn't play. I do remember Coach Harmon. So we had a guards coach and a tackles coach. We didn't have an offensive line coach. It was Coach Hall was the guards coach and Coach Harmon was the tackles coach, and I was a tackle. So at halftime of like every game my sophomore year, he's like, Lorenzo, get ready to go in. And I was excited, and I never went in, ever. Not one time. But I was excited. I would play if it was a blowout or something, But so my junior year, we were 9-0 going into our final game against Maumee. Maumee was 7-2, so they were good also. And if we won, we were going to be in the playoffs. If we lost, we still possibly could be in the playoffs. And that would have been the first team to ever be in the playoffs for Perrysburg. And we went to Maumee, and we ended up losing. So we ended up 9-1. At the time, they took 8 teams to the playoffs. We were number 9, so we didn't make the playoffs. At 9-1, our region was really hard. There was a lot of good schools. And Taylor, you might know, but if we would have made the playoffs, we would either have played Justin Zwick, who ended up going to Ohio State. I don't think he played very much at Ohio State, or Maurice Claret.
Oh, nice.
So we would have got steamrolled, most likely. I don't know, but most likely. But we were really good. It was a lot of fun. I think every one of our offensive linemen got something for league, if not first team for everybody, or second team, depending if guards or whatever.
Yeah.
We were good, and it's we've had really successful seasons the past years. Obviously it's a lot more fun to win than lose. But my senior year, coming off a 9-1 season, almost making the playoffs, have all these high hopes, and then our very first play out here, we play Clyde. We get an interception, and then 2 plays later, we score, and we're winning 7-0. We're like, yeah, this is it. Lost the game 47-7.
Oh. Jeez.
And that was just the start of a 2-8 season, my senior year. Lost to Maumee again out here. A couple cool things for me personally, though, is my senior year I played offensive tackle, tight end, and running back. I got to score a touchdown, my only touchdown I ever scored in my entire life. It was so that was cool. I got to go. My childhood, my grade school best friend went to Maumee, and we got to go against each other in that game. So that was cool. We have a picture. I think my mom has it on her wall of me and him after the game. So that was a pretty cool moment too. But overall, it sucked. But what I learned, and I see it as a coach all the time, coaches, parents take losses way harder than kids do. Like, and there's always going to be those outlier kids that are playing the sport where it'll last a little bit longer, but kids bounce back pretty quickly. And as much as it was terrible going 2-8, me and my friends still talk about it. We joke about it like, hey, we were probably the best 2-8 team in the state. Like, we just mess around all the time, But we remember having fun. It was a good time, and that's what I hope you guys take away, regardless of. I mean, our season's always going to end in a loss unless we win a state championship. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that's what you guys take away from that stuff too, is like how much fun you had and you remember that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
I feel like this isn't the time for Fortnite questions. So we're gonna roll this one.
That's right.
Talking about if you'd have made the playoffs, you'd have played Zwicker Claret. Mm-hmm. It was before I was in the high school level, but I think it was my 7th grade year.
Yeah.
Our varsity won state, but the 3rd round game or the 4th round game, mm-hmm. If St. Vincent St. Mary would have won, they would have played against LeBron James.
Oh, really?
Last year playing football.
Oh, wow.
But they lost, and so we didn't get a play.
That would have been crazy.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. It's cool to think about, like, even coaching against some of these kids we coach against. Like, that guy, or, he's at Ohio State, or he's going to UT, or even some of the kids that we had on go to Perrysburg. And, it's fun for me to go to these games, too. Like, my daughter got the chance to twirl at the University of Cincinnati, and Brady Young is there, who's a backup punter there now, but he went to Perrysburg. And, so it's cool that I got to see him and, meet up with some of the other kids that just attend Cincinnati. Drew Sims at Heidelberg. My kid's first college football game was Heidelberg at Adrian. That was their first college football game experience, and, mm-hmm. So being a coach, being able to go to these other, have these experiences and stuff is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we kind of touched on this earlier, but Young wants to know why you're so nice to all of us.
Maybe that question too is how come I'm not meaner? Maybe, but I don't coach that way. Like, I can't. Now I can get fired up if I need to, especially if somebody's doing something that could hurt somebody, But if you run the wrong route, if I was a receivers coach, or if you miss a block or something, you're already upset. Like, I'm not going to pile on that. I will still coach you and say, hey, we can't miss this or whatever, but I'm just not one to coach that way. And I didn't like being yelled at, so I also don't want to yell. And some kids can handle that, But I know on a Friday night, emotions are already super high. I'm definitely not doing it on a Friday night. Now, you might see me do something out there, or I definitely would if kids are listening from when I was a freshman football coach. I was good for one good tirade, a year as a freshman coach, because sometimes you just got to let it all out and it reins everybody back in. They can start getting too far out, like too loosey goosey, and then you just got to rein it back in. But that's one perk of being an assistant coach is you don't need to be the rule maker all the time. You can kind of be like good cop, bad cop, where Coach Connor could yell at one of my tight ends, and then they look at me, and I was like, yeah. I was like, you're fine. I was like, sometimes he'll yell at someone's like, get him out of there, don't put him back in. And I'm going to put him back in, but I come over and explain what happened, and we talk about what, how to get better, or the coaching aspects of it, and then and go about practice, But and it's not like I want all of you to like me. I don't care if you guys like me or not, but if you do, I want to foster that relationship, and I want, I like having conversations, and I'm sure Young asked that question because me and Young had some really good conversations last year, and he and I were able to connect on a certain level, and I like that, and now I know, and I even told my senior night, like, I appreciated him opening up to me because I want to help in any way possible. If it's just football, cool, I'll help you with that. If you have something outside of football that you're dealing with, I want to be able to help with that too. I mean, I had a brother who passed away from an overdose. I had my mom who drank, and I share those experiences because if you guys are dealing with that, I want you to know that, hey, I dealt with that stuff too, and we can talk about that. But it's mostly like, I want you guys to be happy when you see me. Like, I want to be the guy that, doesn't, and then when I do yell at you, like, it's an impact, but I love you guys, and I want you to understand, like, yes, I'm yelling at you, but it's coming out of a place of love, and I want you guys to do better, so I'm going to tell you how to do better. But I like being liked, and if you guys don't whatever, I'll take that too. But the more kids I can help and be open with, the better for me and hopefully for everybody else. Yeah.
I feel like you always get the most out of kids.
I try
when they when you have that when you have a good relationship with them,
mm-hmm.
and that doesn't mean you always have to be nice to them,
mm-hmm.
but when they know that you care, they play so much harder for you because they know that you just want what's best for them.
Yeah, and they don't want to let you down. Yeah. And I hope for, first and foremost they're playing for themselves and their team. But then just another aspect of it is I want my coach to I love when they come either in practice or in games like, Coach, did you see that block, or did you see this, or because it's my 9-year-old does that, like, Dad, did you see this?
Yep.
So they're people. Players are want you to see them and notice them, and I want to be the one that sees that kind of stuff and helps them. So yeah,
I think that's probably why you had a huge impact on me. I don't think I've ever actually told you this, but I mean freshman season, I knew I really wanted, I knew football was my sport at that time, and I was really just getting into it. And then Rogers was our coach. We all loved Rogers. I mean, freshman football, that was so fun. But that year, getting coached by you, I think, was a big help because you cared for everybody. I mean, you really just kind of put people on the paths that they needed to be on, and it helped me out a lot because, I mean, that was when I was starting to gain my confidence, and it really just put most of us through the roof. I mean, Joe was affected by it a lot. I know I was affected by it a lot. And I think, Dylan, too, we all just, prospered from that. And I think that's why it's nice to have you around. All of our coaches are like that, really. I mean, they all care a lot, and they want to have those relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that just helps the way they play, you guys said. And just overall, it's just a great experience.
That's the one thing that stands out to me so much. Obviously, not around a lot. But Friday nights I come in at halftime, and you sit around and you look at all the dudes in here. I mean, this is one of the most incredible coaching staffs I've ever seen. And it's all guys that, like you said, care about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They're all here for the right reasons. And it's not always like that. I feel like once you get out and you experience outside of this a little bit, you'll understand that. Mm-hmm. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even at jobs, you might have a job when you get older, and it's this one thing just isn't right, and you don't like it, and it bothers you, and and then you're well, I'm going to switch jobs, and you don't know what it's like at the other job. So this little thing might be you move to a different job or a different position, and it's way worse, because you don't know what you have until it's gone or you leave. The grass isn't always greener, and you try to hold on to that as much as you can, especially here. I mean, you only got 4 years. We're here until they don't want us here anymore. So we get to be involved in all this and everything. And it's a lot of it is you don't know how it is until 10 years from now. You're like, man, that was a lot of fun. I had a head coach. Coach Frank was our head coach my junior and senior year, and I remember a thing, and I always talk to him about it, is we don't know how good of a job we did. This is what he told our team. We don't know how good of a job we did coaching until we see you guys as fathers and out in the working, and how are you as bosses and all that stuff, because as much as you guys are just seeing this as playing football, there's a lot of other things that are involved in here. It's just like I talked about, leadership and how to be a part of a team and being a man, and all these things you're learning subconsciously as you're playing football. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, speaking of your freshman year, I can't tell you how many times this year I referenced something that you did as a teaching point for the kids. They'd be like, well, why are we doing that? I'm like, well, we do that because it works. Grace Watson scored.
Oh,
how many times? Because
rap stick.
He did it this way.
Rap stick.
It's just referenced you and Joe countless times this year because you guys did everything the right way.
Yeah.
And when I'm trying to explain to kids, hey, this is why you're doing this. Look at how good those dudes are, and they weren't asking why. They just said, all right, this is the way we do it.
Yeah.
Having real examples, especially somebody that's still in school, that they can watch, really helps, hammer home a point.
Yeah. So, along with the players, I mean, we don't really know much about how close the coaching staff is.
Mm-hmm.
So are you like kind of like the coaches like you are with the players?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we have our text group, and it's not just football stuff. You know, we send each other memes and we talk about, send each other plays, and we have everybody group, and then we have our offensive group too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we in the summer we'll have we'll go out together. A couple summers ago we went to Coach Connor's, I think his father-in-law's place, and we had right before the season started, we had a party, and our kids were there, and they were swimming and hanging out, grilling, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't operate a coaching staff without some level of like friendship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to work when actually Coach Allen and I were just talking about it, where we've developed a relationship over 3 years where if he needs to talk to my tight ends about running a route, he knows he can talk to him and I'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
Even if he's yelling at him. And sometimes he's still like, hey, can I tell Schroeder something? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. So building those relationships makes coaching a lot easier, especially when I'm on the sideline and practice signaling and I'm not out there to coach, So you got to have some sort of relationship, friendship. Otherwise, it makes it very difficult to coach football because emotions are so high on Friday nights, like that can happen. And it happens with friends. Like I'm sure you have really good friends where you've gotten mad at and you guys yelled at each other. That I remember when Coach Kriegel was here and Coach Cotterman was the offensive line coach. There was times where I was scared because like for like a quick second they like were yelling at each other about something, and then it was over and the game continued or whatever. But I'm like, man, this is crazy. But again, like you have relationships where it's the best relationship with a girlfriend. I'm married and we still have arguments, but that's part of life. And same thing here. Like when we have our coaches meetings, we're having fun and joke and laugh, and then we talk about certain things, and I might suggest something, and Coach Connor's like, no, that ain't gonna work, and I'm like, okay, then we'll move on. I'm not sad about it, That's just part of it, But we have a very good relationship, and it's fun in there, and it's when if it's a tight game at halftime, it's still fun in that room because we're figuring out how to win, and if it's a blowout, it's fun in there because we're laughing, having a good time, still making our adjustments, and whatever it is, I can count on those guys to help out outside, in football or outside of football if I need them for something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So we'll stay on the tight ends track here.
Okay.
Tivin and Josh, this is they kind of both threw in parts of this. They would like to know your favorite H or tight end of all time, and maybe this year, and you can name a few. You don't have to just name just one.
So I have a terrible memory. I was trying to think about that today. Like obviously I had Graham last year. Graham was really good because Graham and the tight end room I had last year compared to this year, night and day.
Oh yeah.
Night and day. Like they both get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
But the way, and it's just me trying to coach the kids and figuring out how to coach the kids. That's why I'm on like Snapchat and Instagram. Like that's how you guys communicate. So I'm trying to communicate how you guys communicate. And so those two rooms are just like completely different. My first year we had Ryan Thompson. My first year he was awesome too. He was another kid that was quiet. Could joke around with him a little bit, but he was really good also. And I coached him as a freshman, so I already had a built-in relationship with him. My all-time favorite tight end, I don't know. It's hard because the difference in everyone's personality like really skews that. Like if I want a tight end at this moment, if I want a tight end who is just going to tell me, look at me in my face and just say yes, then I'm going to go with Ryan or Graham because those are the guys I know. I don't want to be like, I don't need mess around time right now. Just do it.
Yeah.
If I feel like I want to just like, we're still coaching, I'm still coaching them, having a good time, then I'll go with these guys because they make me laugh and it's fun and they still do a good job. I was talking to Coach Connor in there. I was like, it's fun to coach these guys and hard at the same time because they mess around a lot in practice. They talk baby talk for some reason, and I have no idea why they're doing that. But it cracks me up, and they love it when I do stuff back to them. But the things they do in practice and how they practice does not affect what they do in the game. Like they're still good. Now there's still mess ups, and that's kind of why we altered practices a little bit, where I'm with them a little bit more during team. But so when they do mess up, there isn't a lot where I can go back and be like, see how you guys practice is affecting the game, because it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say who my favorite tight end is, because I think that's unfair. Yep. I'll just say I have one, and they can fight about it. So I do have one.
The ancient tight end room is loaded this year.
Yeah,
You've got a bunch of the goofballs.
So I will name them. Schroeder, Hubbard, Hire were the first three, and then Sini joined a little bit ago, probably like 3 weeks ago. Hasn't played much, but does go in there. So I do enjoy it, and they're all personality. They all have big personalities.
Especially the first three.
Yeah.
They are crazy.
That was the past 3 years of freshman football. So their group goof around, like practices to a football like purist.
Yeah.
Were definitely not good practices, right? But then they did everything right in the game, like never any issues. Last year, the exact opposite. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. You couldn't get them to focus, and in the game, it was mess ups.
Yeah,
weren't showing what they needed to in the game. And then this year, same thing as with them. It was like you could never get mad at them because they were always doing what they were supposed to do, but they would goof around between plays constantly. But it's like, you guys are doing what you're supposed to do, and you're doing it really well. So, I mean, I'm not going to harp on you over and over if this is just how you practice.
You don't want to mess with that if everything's working.
Yeah.
Like, this is just how it is. And, I reference them kind of with Coach Kriegel when they went to the state Final Four. I remember I think it was our home playoff game, maybe against Massillon, here in the locker room. He's giving his pregame speech. Everyone's sitting down, giving a pregame speech. And then somebody just like farts, like loud, and he stops. He goes, "What he said? Get a break. Let's go." But that was the team. That was the personality of the team, And I always think about that because it is like I was in there too, and it was just a funny thing that happened.
Those freshman practices were crazy.
It's hard.
So much that was going on.
It's hard, and when I was a freshman, sometimes there was only two of us out there trying to rein everybody in. It was fun though.
I could not imagine that with our group. We had some characters.
Oh yeah.
That no longer play, but they were definitely characters.
Taylor, how do you feel when kids are playing freshman football and then they don't play anymore? Like I know from being experienced, there's some kids that are like, fine, but there's other kids that are like, I wish you would have played.
Well, yeah. I mean, it just depends on like their focus.
Mm-hmm.
There are kids that don't come back out that I'm like, even if they were, maybe had some promise, I'm like, you know what, that might just be for the best because I think they would have struggled with the expectations of varsity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But honestly, I don't know, there might be a couple kids from your guys' grade that don't play now that I think
should be playing.
Yeah.
Well, like Hubbard this year.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't playing. He didn't play the past 2 years and came out. So
there's one that might be coming. I'll tell you who later.
Okay.
But there's one I'm very excited about.
Okay.
That there's rumors of they're coming back.
Yeah.
Good.
It's exciting.
Good.
Yeah. So that's just a lot of fun. I think that's where kids really determine whether they want to play more or not. Is that freshman year, and it's nice to have coaches like you guys who really kind of push them forwards in that process. I guess. Let's see. We already hit that one. Okay, Paulo wants you to tell us where the nickname Big Pun came from.
So that's my Fortnite name, and my friends call me Pun, but they named me that in high school. I'm a big guy. I was the biggest of all our friends, the tallest, and so there's a rapper. His name is Big Pun or Punisher, and he is Cuban, I think, or maybe Dominican, but I am Mexican, and my stupid friends don't pay attention. So they started calling me Big Pun. And I'd much rather that nickname than the other guy who they're kind of, those two rappers partnered up. His name was Fat Joe. So I'd much rather have Big Pun than Fat Zoe or something,
Yep.
But now I'm going to get that called by these.
Yep.
That's awesome.
But that's where it came from. And I still have friends that call me Pun or Punisher. I remember my senior year, I think it was the Mommy game. My best friends had a big sign that just said Pun on it. They're holding out a cardboard. So yeah, it's one of those, like you said, nicknames that hang on for a while. This one stuck for a while, and I like it though. I enjoy nicknames. So yeah, as long as they're not
bad.
stupid. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Nico wants to know who your favorite JV Warrior was. I guess we'll say a JV player that didn't get much varsity time.
Okay. Okay, man,
Or the year of.
that's tough. I do so. Of all time, it's someone who coaches with us now is Coach Oros.
Mm-hmm.
He, super coachable. Like, I really enjoyed coaching him. He was a wide receiver when I was a wide receiver coach, and then I think JV he probably played 6 different positions. Like, he was all over the place and he could do everything. And there was times like I felt bad for him because, like, he was like. If we were 3 receivers, he was the 4th one. If we were going 4 wide, he was the 5th one. Yeah. So, like, he was, like, always there, and he knew everything. And he was, like, again, so coachable. Knew all the routes. Knew we had 3 receiver spots. Knew each one of those. And but just athletically, just wasn't quite there. And it always bummed me out because, like, I wanted him to be there, and I wanted him to do well. And, it's cool now to see him with us because, like, I like that. I like to think that at some point, some part of me like helped him decide to be a coach, but he's my dude. He was always my dude, JV, and he's still my dude now. Like, I enjoy talking to him. I think there was a few times where he goes to school down in BG, and we've had dinner down there together. Like, he's a good dude, and like I said, I'm glad he's here, and hopefully he's going to be a good coach. He's a good coach now, and once he gets a paid position, hopefully it's here. And he teaches here, but he's a good dude, and he's probably one of my favorite JV players. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. All right, now we'll get to the Fortnite ones now. So I know
these are hard hitting ones.
Yeah, they really want to know these ones.
I guess. Yeah.
All right. Carson wants to know what your favorite skin is. You know what they're called.
I don't know what they're called, but I can describe them.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what I do now is just put it random.
Yep.
So it just ran. I don't care that much, but if I feel like I want to win, there's a particular one where it looks like it's all black. There's different. You can add different colors, but I like the all black one. But it almost looks like on the back there's like a bunch of like straps or something, and they're crossed on the back. But it looks like it's not a parachute, but that's what it looks like on the back. I don't know what it is, but I enjoy that one. And then there was one, it's like a gold skeleton where the back bling for that, you needed to like have so many kills, and it added like the back bling was a skull too, and it added like prongs on it. And then if you got all of them, then you went for the gold crown. So I like that too. I like that cool gold skeleton one. Yeah.
All right. Ian wants to know your favorite dance.
Can I say I still don't know how to correctly find them on my controller.
Wow.
So I don't use them very often because I still hit down or up and I don't know how to get to them. So
all right, that's fair.
So I don't really have a favorite one. My son Mateo shows me a lot of them, but yeah, I don't really have a favorite one.
That's funny. Let's see. All right, let's go with another funny one. Reed wants to know why you have no hair on the top of your head, but you have a very big beard.
So I used to have really long hair, like long curly hair, and eventually I started going bald. So that's why I don't have it. If I let my hair grow, it'd be like half my head is no hair. So I shave it off, and I don't know. Like I have a really good beard, and my dad does not. My dad can grow a goatee, but he cannot grow a beard. So my brother could grow a beard too. I'll never shave my beard because I don't like the way my face looks without it. And I've had jobs in the past where I had to shave it for like we had to get respirators fitted, and you had to be clean shaven, and I hated that day. There was because I just don't like my face without facial hair. I just like it, but I'm bald. That's why I don't have any hair. So half by choice, half by half not.
Fair enough.
How long did that beard take to grow back?
It grows back pretty fast.
Really?
Yeah, it's much like shaving. I got to shave like every 3 days, but it grows pretty back. But it's the worst part of it is so itchy.
Yeah,
like
that's why I don't. That's why I can't do it.
Yeah,
This is about as long as I'll go. Maybe a little bit longer than this. But
like I can get to this. Like the itchy part for me is when it starts regrowing in.
Yeah.
But I found like really like I went to the Arnold in Columbus. My daughter twirled baton down there, and I was just walking the convention center with my son, and there was a beard station. And they sold me some cream and like shampoo and stuff for it, so I take care of it a little more, which eliminates a lot of that, the itchy and everything. So it's just more maintenance, but it makes it look better, And there was a time during football season where I would start August 1st and not trim it at all, and wait until our season was over, if it was whenever that happened.
Yeah.
So I had a long beard.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that too. My wife did not as much. It didn't look as good. But now I just keep it this length, and I have product to take care of it. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. What a great question.
He probably didn't anticipate that long of an answer.
No.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I also don't think you can answer this, so we'll reword it.
Well, tell me the original wording, and then we'll.
Josh was wanting to know which you enjoyed more, coaching girls basketball or our football team.
Okay.
And I think a better way to word that would be what are your favorite parts of each one?
So I like learning from other coaches, much like I asked why I wanted to be a coach, and it was those three guys, and that's kind of what it is. Like I wanted to see other coaches coach, especially a different sport. I've never coached basketball before, and it made it a little easier because Coach Marshall, I coached with Coach Marshall's wife, and so I knew her already, so it made it a little easier. And it was what I liked about it was the challenge to get the freshman girls to not necessarily like me, but I guess respect me. And with boys, it's a lot. I learned it's a lot easier. Like you guys, it's like, oh, he coaches football. I like football. Let's be friends. It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
And with the girls basketball team, it was tough because they're like, who is this guy? I've never seen him before. I don't think I knew one girl on the team from anything. Maybe it would have been a little easier if I still coached junior high track, and they maybe would have done that. But I knew none of them. So it was just them letting me coach them. But I enjoyed it because I had to work hard, and they made me work for it. And by the end of the season, like, I felt better. And I still have a card that they signed at the end of the year saying, like, thank you and all this stuff. So it's hanging in my office, and so I like that part of it. But with you guys out here, like, I like being much with basketball. I like being the assistant coach, and like I said before, like just being. I can just be myself and not have to worry about anything other than coaching these guys, talking to you guys, making each other laugh, that kind of stuff. I do with this. I do enjoy coaching football because my son can be out there too, so I like that part of it. Like he could have done stuff for the basketball team if he wanted to, but neither of my kids really like basketball, so they were just there watching for whatever. But I like him being out here, so that's a plus of coaching.
Yeah.
And eventually, he'll be playing varsity hopefully, and then I'll still be here. So
that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your podcast, because you have a podcast called The Nerd Ball.
Yep.
And a question actually from Bryson was, why did you name it The Nerd Ball?
So it's called The Nerd Ball Podcast because it started with a friend. It was me and another friend. I love sports, and so I would always talk about sports, and he loved like movies, video games, action figures, that kind of stuff. So we had two separate worlds, and we worked together. This is at UT. So we would come in during lunch, and we'd just talk a lot, and we'd go back and forth about stuff. Like I was surprised he knew who LeBron was. Like that's how little he cared about sports. So like we would talk about that stuff, and there's another guy in our break room like, you guys should like have a podcast about it. So I was able to get some equipment from my brother-in-law, and we called it the Nerd Ball because it's like nerd culture, sports coming together. We even had like our logo was a two fists. One was a batter's glove, and one was, I don't know if you know what the Nintendo Power Glove is, but it was a controller that it was like your hand and a controller. So it was like two fists bumping. That was our logo. So we did that for a while, probably about, I don't know, 20 some episodes, maybe a little bit more, maybe like 30. And then he couldn't do it anymore. He had got a different job, just couldn't do it. But I still wanted to have a podcast.
Yeah.
So I shifted to interviewing people. I think my first one was either Canyon Gagich or I think it was Connor Waldenczak. And I didn't want to change the name, so I changed the logo and kept the name, and now I have almost 200 episodes. Been doing it for 3 years. Awesome. And people like to be on it, like these guys out here, especially like. I love like Bowden. It's like, Coach, you keep having these guys on. When am I coming on? Like I would keep, I like messing with him. Eventually, I have guys on. I want to have people on that want to be on.
Yep.
So regardless of who it is, like yeah, you can come on. We can talk. If we talk for half hour, or we talk for an hour and a half. Like I want to have people on, and I enjoy learning about people, and that's a lot of it too. Is like learning about these cool things that are some people that I know. Like I coach their daughters on softball. I just had someone on I coached her daughter and her son in different sports, and she was on, and we talked for an hour, and I learned all this new stuff about her. Like, I like learning, and I don't want to like stop that part of it, and I enjoy talking. I mean, that's what this is. So, and I've been doing a lot of it. So
that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's called the Nerdball Podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So.
And sorry to interrupt, but there is one more. If I don't say it, my friends will be mad at me. I do have another podcast called Three Different Dads. Okay. We're coming up on 50 episodes of that. It's just me, two guys from high school, and we talk about dad stuff. We talk about some really dad stuff like HOAs. We talk about our lawns. We talk about, if it's taxes, we talk about taxes. We talk about sports too, because we all like sports. I do have a bet. One of my friends is a Mavs fan, and I do have a bet. I bet him $100 that the Mavs wouldn't finish first or second in the conference, and I think I have that locked down. I don't think they're gonna be that good. So, but it's a fun time because one lives in Texas, the other one lives here. But we get to one day a week. We just three guys hang out, and talk to each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool. So who would you say, like, some of your favorite guests have been on your podcast?
I've had Coach Kriegel on twice. Coach Kriegel was one of the only ones where I had questions set because I think he was number 4, and I was really nervous. I went to his house, set up all my equipment like all the equipment is here. We sat there, talked for an hour, but I had questions, and that was one of the only ones I've ever done it because I didn't want to mess it up. I enjoy having football players on because it helps me like get my interviewing skills better because you guys aren't the best at talking sometimes. So I enjoy that. I did learn I have to have 2 on at one time because it's very tough if it's just one of you.
Yeah.
But I enjoy those. I've had Mr. Bucher on several times. He's always one, like, if I need someone in an hour, like, I can text him, like, hey, you want to come on the podcast? Coach Marshall's been on quite a few times. I'm trying to get, like, more outside Perrysburg, but this is where it's at now, and I really enjoy it. I had one of my favorite streamers that I watch. He isn't like super popular, but he's very enjoyable to watch, and me and Mateo watch him. I have him hopefully scheduled within the next few weeks. He'll come on. But yeah, my mom's was really good. She came on. We talked for 2 hours for that one. But yeah, anybody for the most part, anybody that wants to come on, I want to have them on, and I enjoy. There hasn't been one where I'm like that I can't put out, like it was bad or they didn't answer the questions right. If they don't answer questions right, that's my fault. Like I did something, I wasn't answering or asking the right questions, or I didn't frame them right, or whatever, But I like I said, a lot of them have been. I mean, I had someone who made goat soap out of goat's milk. Like they came on and it was cool. And we talked for an hour. I had the woman who, I don't know if you know, Carpets by Otto. She's her parents own that company, and she came on. We learned about her and. So all these like we talked about carpets because that's what it was, but then I learned that she makes miniature things, like tiny. It might be a watermelon or a bowl of ice cream, and she makes tiny things. And
like with art?
Yeah, it's like art. Yeah, because she went to school for art. So and she makes these magnets that are tiny or these little things. So all these like little tidbits I can find out like That's why the first question I always ask people is, what are you nerding out about? Something you're super into right now, because Coach Cotterman was on and he likes to bake. I didn't know he liked to bake.
No,
I coached with
I could
yeah.
not picture that. Yeah,
I coached with him for years. He never brought in cookies or anything, but he loves baking,
Wow.
So
Hold on, man.
yeah. So like
rude.
all those things, all those interesting things to find out about people,
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Rogers, what do you think the Rank It should be this week?
Oh man.
So we do a segment called Rank It.
Yeah.
We'll give you a topic.
Mhm.
You've got to give us your top 5.
Okay. All right.
I feel like Lorenzo could be a movie guy.
Are you?
So I don't rewatch movies,
Okay.
but I do enjoy movies.
Mhm.
Yeah. Watch less now because I'm just so busy, but
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy movies.
Sports memories?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Can you? Yeah, if you've got
Like professional,
Yes.
like
anything,
Yeah,
with
I
you,
think-
anything.
Okay.
and they don't have to be in order unless
Yeah.
unless you have an order.
So I have my number 1 and
All
number
right.
2 already.
All right. Perfect.
But we can go. So sports memories. I think one of them, and I'll just start listening until I get to my top 2 because those are the ones that for sure. I was not a varsity football coach when we went to the state Final Four, but Coach Kriegel, I would always bug him. I actually found old emails of me like hounding him, like, hey, is there something I can do? I'm a 7th grade coach at the time, and or a freshman coach, and like, what can I do more, this and that, and so just being on the sidelines of that state Final Four run. Every game, I went to every game. I drove with, at the time, our trainer was Steph Gherkin. I rode with her every time, so even like just driving with her and the other, like the college trainers that she had, the interns, that was fun. But being a part of that, because that doesn't happen.
No.
It's very rare to be able to be a part of that, and to see all that and see how the coaches coach and be involved in that was really cool. I think anything my kids do, I enjoy watching, especially if it's like a big game, or my daughter twirls baton and going to those big competitions, because it's not just about her like doing the competition. We're all there.
Yeah.
And what really stands out to me of those things, especially baton competitions, is there are very few dads that go. And I understand everyone has like, they're busy, or that other kids doing stuff or whatever, and we just luck out where Mateo is able to go to these, so we all go. And so I enjoy being that, because I think it's important for her to not only see me there, but to see her brother there too, because she goes to a lot of his stuff. And twirling baton isn't a weekly thing as far as competitions. There's like 3 big competitions a year. And I make a point to tell Mateo, like, yes, is there boring times because she performs for 2 minutes and then the next 2 hours she doesn't do anything? It's like a track meet. Yes, there is. Like, they're long days. I think the longest day I think it was like 14 hours we were there one day. Yeah. So it's long, but I want her to understand, like, we're watching you, we're here for you, we're supporting you, So anything that they do, watching Mateo play football or baseball, or when he was involved in basketball. I remember he played basketball 2 years ago, and his team won the championship, for Perrysburg here. So, like, anything they do, I love being a part of that, and going towards him being on Friday nights, being on the sidelines at some point, if he decides to play or doesn't, I look forward to those memories. Being coached by my parents was really cool too. We won my junior high. We won, but we were back-to-back city champions in our baseball league. And I remember, like, I still remember, we were down. I think we were down, or maybe it was tied 2-2. No, we were down 2-1 and 2 outs. I think we played 7 innings. Bottom of the 7th inning, one of our guys got hit by, it was drop third strike. Made it to first. Eventually, he made it around to tie it, and then we won in extra innings. And I remember it was at Ravine Park in Toledo, which is right next to the park I work at. So I drive by it every day, and I get to see it. And I think about that all the time. Like, that's where we won our back-to-back city championships. So personally, those are all it. The ones I remember professionally, my second favorite was, I'm a huge San Antonio Spurs fan. Love the Spurs. Super excited they got Victor Wembanyama. I can't wait for the future of that. Their first NBA championship in 1999, it was me, my dad, and a friend of my dad's. We used to go watch games at this bar in Toledo called Arnie's. It doesn't exist anymore. I think it might be like a restaurant now or something. But we would go there all the time. It was a cool little spot because it was a bar, and then you walk in the back, and it was like theater style seating, and you sat at tables, and then you had a box on your table that you could tune to whatever TV you want to watch.
That's cool.
So you could hear it, could hear it, and then everybody could do whatever they want to. So it was the last game of the finals. I think the Spurs won it in 6, I think. And what I remember most is we were there. They played the Knicks, and when they won, and I still have the picture from Sports Illustrated of Tim Duncan and Dave Robinson both trying to block Latrell Sprewell for the last shot. And he airballed it. They won. And me, my dad, and my dad's friend screaming and yelling. No one else in that place is doing anything. Just me and my dad and him, and just so excited. And, like, it's just something that's burned into me, especially because my friend saved the picture for me. He gave me the Sports Illustrated picture. And, like, being, like, it's their first championship ever. So that was another thing too, like that, and you don't know what's gonna happen. They ended up winning 4 more, but you don't know, like this is it, and so that was exciting, just to be a part of that. My all-time favorite was actually a loss by my team, but it was when the Indians at the time were in the World Series against the Cubs.
Oh.
Game 7, they're down. Rajai Davis is up, and it's late. I'm sitting on the couch. Andrea's sleeping. My wife is sleeping on the couch, and Rajai Davis is against Aroldis Chapman and hits a home run to left field and to tie the game. And I stand up. My kids are sleeping. I stand up, and I'm like whisper screaming. And Andrea kind of wakes up, and she's like, what? I go, he just hit a home run. He just tied the game. And she like kind of looks at me and kind of just rolls back and goes to sleep. But it was so exciting. It was and I was like by myself essentially. But I just and I still see it, and it'll show up on TikToks or Instagram Reels, and I see it, and I know what happens after that. They lose, and it's heartbreaking. But that moment, like even now talking about it, is just like I'll Google it sometimes. Like if I just think about it, like I want to see it again. Tom Hamilton's call, the Indians radio announcer, his call of it was awesome. He's so good at letting you sit in the crowd noise as opposed to trying to talk over it. So he called the home run, and then it had to be like a minute of just the crowd. And it was so good to hear not only the TV, but then to hear him do it. Like like I said, I'll look it up now and still, even though they lost and it's terrible and they'll never win a World Series because it's the Indians/Guardians. But yeah, it was cool. And then going through that whole run of that's when Mateo got into baseball, because he would sit and he would ask questions like I remember one time where they hit a foul ball and he goes, oh, so if they hit a foul ball they get to try again. Like, so I knew he was like into it and wanted to be a part of it. And every morning he would ask, like, did they win? I'm like, no, they didn't win, because it was late, he couldn't stay up. So to have to tell him, like, they lost, they didn't do it. If he was a little older he might ask more questions, but he was, that was 2016. So he wasn't, he was 5, 6, something like that. So, but I can pinpoint, like, this is when he started getting into baseball, which that's a big part of it too. So, yeah.
That reminds me of that call that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It reminds me of two instances. One of them, I don't know if you've ever seen this video, but it's the Kings. I think it was 2 years ago, last year maybe. I forget who hit the shot. I think it might have been Kevin Herter. He makes this shot, and I forget who was calling it. Might have been Mike Breen. And he's
bang.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
And he goes, he hits the shot, and I mean everyone. It's loud already. It's so loud. People are screaming, and he hits the shot, and it like breaks like the microphones. Like, it's so loud, and it makes me so excited every time. I'll try to pull it up. It makes me so excited.
Yeah. An announcer can just raise the level of whatever you're watching so much. And, Mike Breen's really good. He has his call, and I know that's his thing, and I know people don't like it, but he doesn't overuse it either. Like, he uses it at certain points. Like, he's not going to use it in the first quarter, Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, here's the...
You got to hold it to the microphone.
I know the microphones might pick it up. Hold on, let me get full screen here. All right. So, I don't know. This is a full... How long is this clip? 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So.
It is like very loud.
So loud. and it's awesome. It makes me so excited every time I watch
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I don't even like the Kings.
Yeah.
Like, the Kings are a bunch of nobodies, but
Yeah.
they won the game, and it's so awesome, and I love it. And then the other one, I used to like the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why. I think I got a shirt when I was younger, and I was like, all right, this is my team.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's
So-
how it always works.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So I was like, all right, let's watch them. So I remember, oh shoot, what year was it? I don't know. I think I was in junior high, maybe 8th grade. So that would have been, how many years ago? 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So we'll say 2020. And the Raptors are going on the run. They're in the playoffs. They're good. I'm like, all right, this is awesome.
This is my year.
Yeah, this is my year.
All these years of being a fan.
Exactly. When I was my 3 years of being a fan of the
Fandom,
Raptors,
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, awesome. So I'm watching it.
Was that when they had Kawhi?
Yes.
Okay, yep. That was 19.
19.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
All right. And they're playing the 76ers. This was the championship game, wasn't it? I think it was.
It was
might have been
it was Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. To get to the
Finals,
the
NBA Finals. Yep.
And I was sitting on my couch. I forget when it was, but whenever it was, we had a bunch of family over,
Mhm.
and I was like, everyone was talking in the kitchen. I'm sitting on the couch, like watching the game because I was like so into it.
Yeah.
And I remember the last shot, like, because I saw it on the TV and I was just in awe because he like, it's the one I can like recite the whole call in my head. I
Yeah.
can, like memorize. He like went up, like hit the rim like twice. Like I've never seen a ball bounce like that before.
I felt like it was just sitting on there for forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never seen a ball bounce like that. It was like up, rattle, fall, and it went in, and he's like sitting on the ground. Everyone's just like watching. They're
Mhm.
frozen. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That was
As much as I hated Kawhi because he wanted to leave the Spurs, like that
Uh-huh.
was a cool thing.
that was probably my best professional
Yeah.
sports moment I've ever witnessed. That was awesome.
What about you, Taylor?
Oh man, it's weird. It's not like a game moment, but I remember watching the '98 Bulls championship parade on
Okay.
TV,
Yeah.
and like just always stood out to me. Like I'll just never forget that. Like just all the excitement, just how cool it was to see Michael and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, when the Cavs won their championship, watching that
Yeah.
was
I-
awesome.
I was so happy for my friends who were Cavs fans.
Yeah.
Like it was,
Yeah.
because that's just. I'm glad I'm not an all Cleveland sports fan because I'd be miserable.
Me and my friends, like my high school friends, we would watch. Because, I mean, like I said, LeBron was in high school when we were junior high. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was like we were big LeBron fans, and we would watch any game that was televised.
Yeah.
We're watching it.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching the Spurs series. Like, I graduated that year, and I was working in like a factory in my summer job. And I remember coming home, and I had like Pizza Hut wings or something like that, and I sat down.
The best wings, right?
Oh yeah, right. And swept, and it was just like, man, like
Yeah.
what, like that sucked.
Yeah.
But to watch him win
Yeah.
was just
Awesome. Well, do you have any closing remarks? Anything that we didn't touch that you would like to go over?
No. First of all, you do a really good job, and this podcast is probably better because Sam's not here. So we'll say that.
Well, all right.
No, you did.
Thank you
did.
for listening. We're done.
No, I said you. No, it's better
Oh, I
because
thought
it's
you
not
said.
here.
I thought he was better.
No.
Maybe Sam was here.
No,
I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
better
No,
without-
it's better without Sam.
All right, well, never mind.
Like,
Whatever.
yeah, I don't know what would have happened, but I don't think you would have got those awesome questions though.
Thank
You did a really good job. This is cool. There's very few times because I interview people so much where I get questions asked about me, so I enjoy that. This was really fun. Because I asked people so many questions, I anticipate questions a lot too now. But your questions were really good, and I do like that. I think that should be a running thing for you guys.
I
Like,
would say too.
like if it's a soccer player or something, maybe go to the soccer team and get some of those things, because that's cool because you're not gonna always ask everything. And I think you balanced, because you knew what was on your question list. You could ask like more adult questions because you knew like these knuckleheads on your phone were going to ask these other questions.
It's a great descriptor.
Yeah. So like I think I never know like what to expect going into like I didn't know what to expect. Like I would love to come on. I don't know what's gonna happen or what it is. You know, I could just based off your other interviews you guys did. But it was cool. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate you asking me to come on here. It was and if you ever need someone else, I'm not. I don't know what you would be. I always tell people like, yeah, I'll definitely have you back on, and then I gotta think, what am I going to ask them? Like, that's the hard part. But it makes me become a better interviewer. Mm-hmm. So if you ever guys need someone else, let me know. Or if you need a fill-in host because Sam misses again.
Well, he's fired now. So maybe we'll have to
send your job applications to crogers@perrysburgschools.net. We're looking to hire.
I don't even know if he's going to. Do you think he's going to listen to this?
No. He's definitely not going to make it to a minute or an hour, 23 minutes. I promise you that.
Let's leave him a message. What should we? If you're listening to this,
the code word.
Yeah. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Text. You got to text me and Rogers. I want my job back.
Yep.
That's what you have to text.
And we'll give you a $100 signing bonus too.
Yeah, because you're not listening to this. Yep. You know it.
You know why he's not going to listen to this? Because his voice isn't on it, so he's not going to listen to
it. He's like Mefford in that he only listens to see it for himself.
That's what he's going to do. He's going to listen to the podcast. He's going to hear his name, and he's going to go and text his girlfriend.
Man, you mentioned him twice even on this podcast.
Oh, he did it.
Yeah.
Shoot.
And the second one was his actual name. Yeah, that's all right.
Did I say Medford?
Yeah, you did.
Okay,
you said Medford. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not.
Good.
I call him Medford.
Yeah.
I'm not hip on the.
No.
That's all right.
I didn't know why you guys did that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
The nice thing is he wouldn't listen this far to hear us say his name either.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Right.
He'd be done already.
Yeah. Well, this this is it flew by. It was a lot of fun. You guys did. It's awesome just sitting here talking to you guys. And I kept seeing it. And I was like, am I talking too much? Like, should we be done? I have expectations for it. So it was a fun episode. Yeah.
This is probably the smoothest it's ever been.
Yeah. I think
awesome.
I think from my perspective, having sat through last year and having been through these episodes so far, I think all of our episodes this year are a little smoother than last year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you learn, right? You learn a lot.
Yeah.
And you know.
I just think that you have. I loved Jack and Joel. I think you have a little bit more of a. I'm not even sure how to say it. A smoother presence on the mic. I think Joel didn't take it serious enough, and I think Jack almost took it too serious.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think that you're a little bit more like, go with the flow, take it where the person takes it.
You're very good at that too. Yeah. Like, and speaking of that, and you have another question based on it. That's why I don't like having questions. Mm. Because I won't listen to the person. I'm just like, okay, what's my next question?
Yep. That was what Joel did last year. That's kind of what I didn't want to be like that because I would listen to him. Right?
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder, but it makes the interview a lot smoother. Yeah. Everything a lot smoother.
But I just don't want it to feel like I'm like just asking them a question to ask another one.
Yeah.
Like I want to be personable with them.
You do a great job.
And sometimes too that they'll answer your question and they'll say something really cool and you're like, next question.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, wait, go back to that thing.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. So,
yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Feedback. That was perfect.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, good.
I had fun too. Are you going to do the outro then?
You can do it.
I don't even know
I did it last week.
I don't know it.
It's like a...
It makes me embarrassed every time I have to say it.
We don't have to say it anymore.
It's fine.
He's fired, so we don't have to worry about it.
Wait, Sam does it?
No,
Sam
it was his idea. It was his idea.
We go back and forth.
What is it?
It was
I'm curious now.
Don't cry, but it's time to say goodbye to Inside the Hive.
Yeah.
It's a little corny.
Well, we went from Joel's to the moon to Don't Cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little nursery rhyme.
Okay. All right.
We gotta figure something else out.
Well, you can always do something different, everyone.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
we don't have to have a catchphrase anymore.
True.
Yeah.
We don't have to.
You just say goodbye.
We could.
Yeah.
Could do that.
All right. Well,
I guess we'll figure it out another time.
Yeah.
All right.
For now, just
Thank you.
Yeah.
Coach Melcher. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And this will wrap up episode 5.
Sweet. Yep. See you.